What was the first thing you worked for to save up enough money to buy? 13-inch color TV with a built-in VCR. Had to get in a lot of babysitting hours for that bad boy. I had one of those. I got it as a Christmas gift when I was 13 and held on to it until I was 25. At that point, the remote had stopped working a year prior. The VCR part stopped rewinding. Then it just stopped working completely. I tried hooking another VCR up to it, but VHS copy protection made that a bad idea. After college, as I was moving out of the dorm, I pitched it into a dumpster, and someone dove in and pulled it out. This made me think of 9/11. I was in college in my dorm watching my 13-inch TV VCR combo when the planes hit. I can smell the dorm and feel the plastic of the TV when I close my eyes and think of this. I had lost the remote. I remember reaching to turn it up when the breaking event began. An original Gamma Boy. I cut lawns for a summer to save up for it. Excellent. In '84, age 14. I worked 5 to 9 PM Monday Friday in our local video shop for a year to buy a Sony Walkman WM22. I still have it. Finding it in a box in the loft this morning prompted my question. For me, it was an N64. Took about 16 weeks of doing my newspaper route. Totally worth it. I still have mine as well. A TV for my bedroom. I wanted one when I was 13, and my parents said that was fine as long as I paid for it myself. So I got a job picking strawberries at a local farm. Yes, I got my TV, but I was so sick of the sight and smell of strawberries that it was at least a year before I could even think about eating them again. I lasted about 2 hours, made about 25 cents. My dad said that when he was about that age he got a job at a farm carrying hay bales from one side of the barn to the other. I forgot how many he was able to get throughout the day, but it wasn't a lot. Maybe 20? For each hay bale he carried he got paid 25. Yeah, that's a hell no from me, lol. A trumpet. Professional brand silver trumpet. I wish I still had it, but it was stolen. Batch Strad? I still have mine, but I suck. A mountain bike in high school. It was a Gary Fisher full suspension bike. Back when full suspensions were fairly new, it was kinda a big deal for me. Renting my first apartment rather than sharing. Must have felt nice to have full control of when the dishes are done. Lol, I regret having this power. My very first car. It was in 1998. I was 19 years old when I bought it. A 1987 Chevy Camaro. It needed some work. It looked like shit, but I loved that car. My friends liked it as well. My sister's friends all told me it was garbage, but their parents bought them newer cars that they didn't appreciate. A 1979 Gibson Les Paul custom guitar. I paid $400 for it in 1987 and sold it for $500 a few years later after I bought a Fender which was more my style. Wish I never sold it. It would be worth over $3,500 today. Easy. You got paid $100 to have a nice guitar for a few years. Nice. Easy to regret stuff, but sounds like a win when there's no way to know the future anyway. Yeah, it was a win. It was one of 3 instruments that I sold that I wish I kept, but I don't lose sleep over it. I sold it to a good friend solely because he really wanted and loved that guitar. I was happy that he had it, even though I sold it for more than I paid for it. It was worth more. I was a bit disappointed that my friend foolishly traded the guitar for a crappy guitar that he got distracted by. A hamster. Not just the hamster, as those costed like $7, but the cage, the plastic hamster ball thing, the bedding, the treats, the works. I named him Sam. He lived to be almost 5 years old, and he was the best. My mom helped me figure out how much money food costs, and I made sure I had enough money saved at the time of buying him to be able to get him food for at least a whole year. My mom didn't think he'd stay alive longer than that. Wow. Sam lived a long and happy life. He lived way longer than we thought hamsters could live. He had a great personality too. The whole Beatles rock band set, with the drums, mic, and guitar. Only had that job for 3 weeks, but got enough to buy it, and was beyond happy. May I ask what the job was? Just an employee at Dairy Queen. clothing that didn't come from Kmart. That was my husband. He's still so proud when he talks about shopping at the mall for the first time with his first real paycheck as a teen. I was 18 living with a friend and I saved 2 paychecks to buy a mattress and box springs. I took my friend who was a student and my friend who was in the military so could get 2 discounts. Paid $179.00 and slept on that thing for 6 years. Worked 2 jobs and sold plasma while in college a few years ago to take my then girlfriend and myself to Europe. Neither of us had ever really traveled before, and she was always worried she'd get stuck and never get a chance to see the world. Thought bringing her along was a huge waste of money for the longest time after we broke up. But she died recently and I found out she kept a box of mementos from our trip. In hindsight I think that was probably the best money I ever spent. That's something, ain't it? You gifted her something that she cherished her whole life. Now, that's a gift. Now these are the kind of gifts I want to be giving. Clothes. I grew up poor, often going to school with jeans that I grew out of a year ago. They would be tight and would get like high waters while everyone else had well-fitting or baggy jeans. I stood out and I got teased and bullied because of it. When I got to high school I got a part-time job and started buying some decent clothes. Jeans that fit, decent shoes, that sort of thing. My first major purchase that actually required saving was a nice leather jacket. Was about $400 roughly 30 years ago, which was several weeks pay. Those things were expensive. My punk but had to save up for mine too. I didn't sell out, son. I bought in. Keep that in mind. SLC punk. A transistor radio. 1972. Mine was a Sony Walkman in 1984. I found it in a box in the loft this morning. Was it a kit or a beautiful off-the-shelf radio? I had the first commercial version of the Walkman. I use the clip to wear it on my hip every day while I delivered newspapers. I found it a few years ago and it weighs a ton. No wonder I have a curvature of the spine. I worked my butt off for all of the summer of 1975. At the end, I bought a programmable calculator, a TSR-52. It allowed you to save your programs on magnetic strips. It was the first programming I ever did. By demonstrating my work to a teacher at school, got me access to a computer the school had. I never went to college for programming. Instead, I landed a job in what would have been the middle of my junior year of college. In April, I will be a professional programmer for 40 years. A year in Japan. Saved up $800 for the deposit at the age of 15. Then the program sent a letter asking for the next $3,000. Within a month I was devastated. Couldn't manage it. Family wouldn't pay, and I lost my deposit. My Japanese tutor, who I paid, found me a program with a scholarship, which brought the price down to $2,600 altogether. My parents eventually agreed to that one. My son left last January for 6 months in Japan. We all know how that turned out. He ended up having to come home in March, which was really disappointing. I really hope he gets another chance to go back over for a good chunk of time, not just a short visit. Ella said when I was a kid, he was already sick and a pecha bleed. He died 3 months later and spent my remaining money on vet bills. Damn, that's rough. Thanks, yeah, it really was. I wasn't older than 10. I was so proud to have convinced my parents to let me have a pet. Driver's edition. My father refused to pay for it. Wouldn't allow me to take it till I had saved enough money to pay for it myself. I got caught in a vicious circle of, well, I need a job to save up for a car and driver's ed, but I can't get a job without a car or a license. Same, but I found a job that would take me as long as I got the license within 6 months, which got extended to a year because of COVID. College. Despite having scholarships and financial aid, I needed to support myself. I got my first official job at 15 to help pay for college and move out. My parents refused to support me financially, and I desperately wanted to move away as soon as I graduated from high school. I'm so proud of you. My second car. My mom gave me her old 89 feet Toyota Tercel in which the transmission broke after 6 months of driving. I then worked all summer and saved up enough money to get a 96 feet Chevy Corsica. That shit was straight out of your grandma's garage. I miss that car. A Gibson Les Paul guitar. I still have and love it many years later. Quite a few of us in here. This huge animal encyclopedia. My mother was very poor, but she still let me earn a bit of money by doing extra chores around the house. There was this big animal encyclopedia at a local bookstore. It was $150, way too much for even a present, so I saved up all my chore money for a very long time. I believe around a year. I still came up short. I would still buy candy here and there. In the end my mom paid the rest of it. I spent days reading that thing. I kept it 4 years. In the end I gave it to my younger brother. I don't know where it's at now. An Alienware laptop computer. Absolute shit. No customer service. $3,000 laptop lasted about 6 months in total before it completely died. This was about 15 years ago. But I will never trust them or buy from them again. My entire paycheck from a summer camp job went to this. The only reason I took this job was so that I could afford it. Alienware sucks. Absolutely shitty products, very overpriced. They were always overpriced. But I don't think they were shitty until they came under the Dell umbrella. When I was a kid, I saved up all my birthday money and Christmas money, never got an allowance, to buy myself the original Northeast's Nintendo Entertainment System. Yes, I'm ducking gold, born in '76. But no one in my family thought I could do it, because I'd have to save for a few years and not spend it on anything else. My mom refused to buy me a video gaming system because she didn't want me to spend all day playing video games, and said if I wanted one I'd have to buy it with my own money. I think she thought she found a loophole in telling me I had to buy it for myself. But I did it. She kept her word though. I bought it and did play that thing forever and all day. Edit. Don't know if that counts as worked for, since I was gifted money over the years. But yeah, it felt like work as a kid to not spend what money I was getting. The first thing I actually worked for to get money for was a car, minus 1989 Toyota Corolla, used. You were practically a saint to save for so long. And I bought my Walkman in '84 when I was 14 years old. I worked evenings at a video rental shop. The UK laws on child labor were slightly more lax then. I didn't mind. I did my homework while at work. Glasses. I was 14. Yeah, that one's a tad messed up. A gaming PC. I was 16 and about to start college, worked all summer, spent a fortune on it back then, 15 years ago, had a 780 GT graphics card, can't remember the rest of the specs. 16 and in college, in the UK, potentially, over here, college, or 6th form, runs from 16 to 18, and university runs from 18 to 21. My piano. My Nintendo DS. Same. When Lego Battles came out, me and my brother decided we wanted to get DS's. DSS. C. Size. Close bracket. We started asking friends and family if there was any work they needed done they could pay us for. It took about half a year, but we both ended up saving enough money for one. A leather biker jacket. It's still my baby 10 years later, and I would save it in a fire. I'm currently debating on buying a green leather jacket for $400 because it looks ducking awesome, but like it so much, and I live in Arizona, and I drive a Buick. Why the debate, and is it the jacket? I drove a Peugeot and listened to T-Rex on repeat. Do it! Exclamation mark. The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring Extended Edition DVD. Mode. Longs. Saved allowance, which was rare in my cash-strapped family. Stockpiled birthday money. Anything it took. Because I love those movies. Next year, I did the same for the Two Towers Extended Edition. But my grandmother, God bless her, gifted me the Return of the King for Christmas the next year because she wanted me to save my money. I still have them and watch them frequently. Nintendo 64. I grew up the youngest of 3 boys in a pretty poor family. I never had anything of my own. I was always an afterthought and everything was always hand-me-down for me. We had a Northeast's that my grandfather gave us. but my brother would always hog it and never let me play. I was always stuck watching. I started doing yard work and saved up all year for it after seeing all the commercials and ads. My confirmation, Roman Catholic, and birthday hit on the same month and finally put me in a position to buy it. It was never mine though. I got to play it just as much or less than the Northeast's. Nothing as this house is yours. Learn to share or you're not allowed to play it at all. Apostrophe. And that's when I started hating them. I'm pretty sure. Wow. That's some next level bullshittery by your parents. Do you still follow gaming these days? Not really. I have nerve damage in my hand. Haven't played since Box 360 first came out. An Electro Harmonix metal muff. A PS2. My first purchase ever with money I made from a job was Independence Day on VHS. A plane ticket out of Australia to go on a 3-week trip around the UK and Europe by myself. Loved every minute of it and moved to England a couple of years later. No regrets. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.